Hey guys, I'm Seaal. We're playing Ori and Willow Wisps today. Joining me on commentary is Scaffold.
Hi, I'm Scarfell. I play this game and pretty much all of the no out of bounds categories, which is what this is going to be today.
Yeah, so just quickly, Make Quest Order is kind of like a no major glitches category. Ori is one of the West is a very, very, very broken game and in many good ways, but we're going to be taking a slightly more slower playthrough today where we're doing something that you would more expect a casual player to do. So if you guys are ready on the timer, I will start after 3. Sorry, or I'll go rather. So 3, 2, 1, go.
So the first thing we do is quit to menu right at the start of the game. Basically, there are some cutscenes where it's quicker to just quit to menu rather than watching the whole thing. And now, normally in speedruns we do that like a lot, but for the sake of a marathon, we try not to do that too much because it's not super exciting to watch. So we'll only be doing those for like the extremely long cutscenes like the intro.
Yeah, so early game objective in Ori and the Willow Wisps for us is to collect 400 Spirit Light. So if you just watch the Ori and the Blind Forest run, the Spirit Light is used as like an experience system, or it gains levels and you can level up abilities. And Willow the Wisp, they actually changed it, so it's a currency system. So we're actually going to collect Spirit Light to buy things from various vendors. So yeah, our first goal is to collect 400, and we're going to use that to buy a very broken ability.
So look forward to that when it happens. For now, we got the first new thing of the game compared to Blind Forest, which is this torch. And the torch is a weapon, which is different to the combat in the original game. Though you don't actually see any of the combat in the original game, actually thinking about it, because it was SBS. So basically the torch, we can do some really broken things, which we're going to have a little bit like this father.
Yeah, torch makes us very, very floaty, as you can just see. And we can use this to skip a combat arena below.
Yeah, the story goes that, this keystone jump is like super hard, much harder than it looks. Yeah, the story goes that they, Onan tested all of the air friction on all of the weapons to make sure you couldn't solve it and whatever, but forgot to test the torch because you only get it for like the first minute of the game. So while we have it for that first minute, we're going to abuse it. We have to get rid of it soon, unfortunately, because if we enter the first major boss fight escape sequence with the torch, then the game soft locks.
Yep. Yeah, so much like in Blind Forest, we have keystones to collect that open doors. So for now, we're just collecting 2 for this door on the right, which you have to open. Later on, we'll actually be taking keystones from one area and using them in another area. So you can use keystones in the door that they're not supposed to be going into. So yeah, so I'm going to put the touch out here. And also, sorry if you see some micro stutters. I've been having some slight performance issues that just happened this week. You know, marathon practice. Computer decides to start self-destructing. Completely fine. Hopefully,
yeah,
what
that's the typical way of doing it, right? So this first escape sequence, there's not really much we can do to speed it up besides take that little damage tank. So for the actual boss fight itself, we're going to get given a torch, and basically we want to start wailing in it as soon as its health bar appears. And we don't have to get it the whole way down. We basically want to just try and hit it as much as possible and minimize it hitting us, because it hitting us it's just all the way over to the right-hand side of the screen.
There we go.
Nicely done.
Yeah. So the second attack it does, usually you can just sort of like dash tank it. And it doesn't force you backwards; it just forces you into the ground. So it's not bad to tank that one.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Some of the attacks force you all the way over to the other side of the screen, and because you have no like movement abilities, it's pretty time-consuming to get back over.
Yeah. So yeah, we're coming on to our first ability here, Solid. We'll mainly be using this for movement purposes. It can be used for combat, but we'll get a much better option slightly later on.
Yeah. We see, movement usage of this pretty much immediately, where it's mostly used for pretty small, not even sequence breaks, just small skips early on in the run, like when you can use the up slash to get up here.
I've got a donation to read if now's a good time.
Sure.
Just let me know.
Yeah, go for it.
It's
okay,
good, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, we have $100 from Keichin, who says, "Gotta donate during this run. You got this, Seaal. Thank you for the $100."
Holy shit! Thank you, Keichin. Keichin is a good friend of mine. Yeah, so thank you so much for the donation.
That's so cool.
So yeah, so one thing we did there was just a quick quit to menu to skip a 30-second cutscene. And yeah, we're just gonna continue collecting Spirit Light. We're almost coming up to... We're going into another small skip here. And then we'll be getting our second ability, Double Jump. So there's a combat arena above us, but we can actually just drop through here and do an up slash, and we can make it across.
Yeah, combat arenas are, as you'd expect, just basically you have to kill all the enemies in the room, and then only then does the pathway open. We're going to skip all of them in the run we possibly can, because they're very time consuming, so we only actually do 2 in the whole run. Even though there's like meant to be 5 or 6 required. Probably more than that, to be honest. We got Double Jump, and we're also picking up our first Shard, which is basically an equipable little like upgrade you can give to yourself passively. And this one will make Ori stick to walls, which we're going to be using for a very important skip later on. And also we did some cool stuff with the sword there to get up to this 50 Spirit Light here that you're not meant to get normally like that.
Yeah, it's basically the fastest way to get to 400. We're now actually going to be doing some actual killing of enemies. We're going to be killing slimes because they drop Spirit Light. Because the last 50, the actual fastest way to get it is to just kill a bunch of slimes. So there's one on this wall, for example. Oops.
Yeah. Killing slimes is was very time consuming to actually time it out, so thanks to Hetfield for doing that. To work out if it was faster than the normal way. We're coming up on a pretty major skip there called Door Skip, which is one of the most iconic ones of the game. And basically there's a door in the bottom left of the screen which requires keystones. But we don't want to open the door, we want to keep the keystone and use it for later. So instead we're going to basically lead this little dude below us into a specific position and then jump off him to make it up to the ledge above.
Oh, just get it. It's okay. Yeah, this trick is it's actually pretty consistent when you practice, but it's so easy to make mistakes and have it go wrong. So
yeah, a quit to menu is definitely the right play. Quit to menu resets all enemy positions, so we don't have to worry about getting him back into the right position or anything like that.
Okay. Third time lucky. Third time lucky. We got this.
Yeah, you got this. No worries.
Yeah, the game has a somewhat unfortunate tendency to sometimes eat your inputs, which in a trick like this could be kind of devastating.
Yeah, this part in particular is like the part where it eats up the most in my experience.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry, we're just joking on a marathon. No worries.
No, you still got this. That's how it
okay.
be. This is the reason that Seaal picked up Sticky earlier as well, to make sure that
Hey, okay, we got it.
Position. Nice done.
Yeah, that trick is just extremely difficult to get it.
Yeah. We're also picking up this little health cell on the right. Once we get 2, we'll get an additional bit of health. And we need to be able to do some damage tanking later for skip.
Yes.
Also, I mean, having more health is just nice because, you know, dying loses time, surprisingly.
Yeah, later on in the run, we will be... Anytime we take damage, basically, especially in spikes, we would be taking 4 damage. And this extra health cell will make us have 5 health. So it basically gives us a 1-hit buffer. And yeah. And Ari dying is like one of the most easiest things you can do, especially in the speedrun, so...
Yeah. We picked up another shard, which is Reckless. That makes us take more damage, but we also deal more damage. It's going to be useful for bosses later on, but for now we're just using it to kill some slimes quicker. And we also just picked up an ability Regenerate, and what that does is, similar to your focus from Hollow Knight, you pretty much hold a button and you will heal over time. And which might not sound super useful for a speedrun, and you'd be right, but there's going to be a really important trick with that later on called Wave Dashing, so look forward to that in about 10 minutes or so.
Oh yeah, Wave Dashes are fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking at our spray line count, we're at 394, so a couple more slimes will do it.
Yeah, this is the kind of point where you want to basically pick and choose which slimes to still kill. So you're, looking at your counter and seeing what do you have left that you can get. Because the way that the Spirit Light comes out is RNG, and sometimes you might miss a few like individual ones at different points. So you have to kind of adapt which ones you're going to kill at this point.
Yes. Okay, dude. Hello.
That shard was Resilience, by the way, which makes us just... Oh, I hate when this guy is up there.
Yeah, you like the troll?
Yeah, it makes us basically just take less damage, which is again important for the damage tank later on.
Okay, I'm gonna just take that health for safety.
We're gonna do this trick is called Offer Skip, where basically there's a cutscene, and we're just gonna go over the top of it. And it's a lot more difficult than it looks because the collision doesn't actually match the like objects, I guess. Reason being that they didn't expect you to go up there. Yeah. More importantly, we're doing sentry jumps now. Do you want to talk about sentry jumps?
Yeah, so we just picked up, so we've just spent our first 400 spirit light, we picked up Sentry, which is like, in a casual playthrough, Sentry is like a turret that just kind of like statically sits there and attacks enemies. Turns out you can combine it with an up slash and it gives us incredible height, which is one of the main speedrunning attacks. You're gonna see it again right now. We're gonna go flying into the air. Yeah, so we combine it with a solid up slash. Yeah, and doing it underground is actually fairly simple. We just have to press them all in the same frame. We can also do them in the air, which we'll be utilizing a lot throughout this run because we're doing grapple-less. And those are very difficult because I have to do the up slash input exactly 3 frames after the Sentry input. So yeah, so we're going to be doing multiple frame perfect tricks later on in the run to get through some sections.
Yeah, we haven't talked too much about grapple-less yet. It's pretty exciting to be able to do the run because it's a lot more challenging. But you won't really get a feel for why that is until later because we don't actually have grapple yet. So
yeah, we got grapple about 20 minutes in, approximately.
We just picked up a bow, which is going to be our main combat skill for the run. But for now, let's just use the solve some puzzles.
Yep. Yeah, it really doesn't look very good right now for dealing damage, but we'll pick up some Shaz later, which make it into a automatic firing shotgun.
Yeah, which is pretty good, as you can imagine. Yeah, and also these ice stones actually count as keystones. If you look on the top left of the screen, you can see that they count for some reason, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But you can't actually use them as keystones. They're only programmed to be used here.
So yeah, so we're going to be picking another health size. You're also going to see Twillin, which is an NPC that sells stuff, but we're going to ignore him for now because we don't have any spirit light yet. We'll see him later in a different area of the game. And
now we're coming up on Hollow Swim, Dash Swim. I forget what we ended up calling it. We had a discussion about this the other day. But basically, we're going to be swimming through this poison water, and there's actually a save sugar inside the poison water.
Oh, geez.
So as long as we reach that, basically, then
I messed up.
We will still get the save and be able to go through the water.
Okay, I'm not doing very good in tricks so far, but let's try and get this one second try. There we go. This is better.
Nice. We also did a trick with the heal to overlap the heal with the iframes from the spikes to basically be able to make it the whole way down there.
Yep. So yeah, that saves around like 20-25 seconds. So it's pretty significant. We've also got to do it on the way up, which is more difficult. That one generally isn't so bad on the way down. Oh yeah, shout out to this beetle. So the music drops. This is like, oh my god, this beetle, he's a boss. Very scary. You're gonna have to fight him. Actually, no, we're just gonna quit the menu. He's gone.
Yeah, and the music cuts out too. I think that's also the only time in the game that song plays. So
yeah.
Shout out to that banger that gets to play for like a quarter of a second. We just picked out one of the main abilities of the game, which is dash. Which, as you can imagine in speedrun, being able to dash is pretty useful.
Oh, okay, that's lucky.
And what's good about dash in this game, and cool about it rather, is that you can basically your dash has like an internal cooldown, so you can't just spam dash like crazy, right? Also, Seaal just did a pretty cool trick there to basically make so whenever he picked up the spirit light, it normally goes, "Hey, you got some spirit light," but it didn't that time because he overlapped the cutscene of picking it up with some other stuff. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but he did the trick anyway.
Basically, like if you don't touch the ground for enough time, it just like times out.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And you don't ever see the text, which saves us a couple of seconds.
Yeah. We're also coming up on our first wave dash. We're gonna basically dash into the wall and then regenerate in the other direction, and or we'll go zoom.
Yeah. So we're also going on to the other part of the swim and then concentrate because this is fairly difficult.
Yeah.
This may take me a few attempts. This is one of the newest tricks I picked up, actually. It's very difficult. Hey, we got the most difficult part.
Nicely done.
Okay, nice. We're through that section. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, that's really good. The first part of that is, like the rest of the parts of this, you normally have setups for, but the first part of that you're doing totally blind, basically. You can use some audio cues, but not much, so it's really difficult. That's probably, honestly, the hardest trick in the run individually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, just yeah, I am randomly dying to spikes. Like I said, it's very easy to die in this game. You make any kind of misjudgment in movement and you hit any spikes, you're probably just gonna die. And yeah, it's a great way to lose some time, but not a big deal, honestly, overall.
Also, it might seem weird that we like lower the water after going through all the trouble to not lower the water, but it ends up being faster. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we have to
really
shoot this purple eyeball to open the door, and the only way we can do that in a no out of bounds category is to lower the wall. You can actually do it a different way in an out of bounds category, but you can shoot an arrow to the floor, but we're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, because it's no out of bounds, which includes arrows. If we could shoot arrows out of bounds, though, that would be really nice. We could do a lot of new things with that. But there's also a boss ring here, by the way. We already went past it, though. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I always forget to talk about it because like
it's
skipping
so
it is like skipping it is really trivial. We're kind of on one of the most iconic abilities of all of Ori, which we completely skipped in the Blind Forest run because that's kind of the point of that run, which is bash. And oh, you got it, nice. And yeah, that trick that Slither just did to basically move around while the cutscene is playing. In the cutscene for the bash tree, you have to basically be shooting the bow down in the exact position that the bash cutscene is going to begin. And by doing that, you can move. You can actually do it to any tree, but in normal runs, it's only actually useful for the bash and grapple trees. So we're obviously not going to be seeing the grapple tree today, so the bash tree is only going to see. So nice one.
Yeah, that's pretty fun to zoom around the screen while the cutscene is playing.
Yeah. Yeah, bash, like I was saying though, basically you launch in one direction, and the thing that you're launching off launches in the other direction. So we're going to be using it for puzzles to redirect fireballs, but also just using it for movement, because you can go very fast with it. And so whenever you do it, you get your jump and your dash back as well, so you can link dashes into bashes and so on and so forth. It's part of what gives the game like a really good flow to its movement. Especially because unlike Blind Forest, we don't have charge jumps and stuff like that in this game.
Yeah, so I'm doing a little backup story here. I accidentally shot the bow and used some energy I wasn't supposed to. So actually I have less energy there than we needed. So that's also worth mentioning. We didn't really mention this, but sentry jumps by default take one whole energy. And right now I only have 4. So it's actually really important that we're monitoring our energy levels and not using too much energy in certain places, because we might actually run out and not be able to sentry jump, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, it should be mentioned that we can't just spam sentry jumps like crazy. Even though it's a very powerful technique, we have to be kind of careful where we route it in, because it takes time to get energy back, and also we can't just do it instantly. That cutscene skip, by the way, is a favorite of mine, because it gives 200 Spirit Light for finishing the quest there. But we all thought it was broken on release for a long time, because if you skip the cutscene too early into it, for some reason the quest doesn't count as complete. So we all thought, oh, the cutscene's just broken, whatever. And it wasn't until someone thought to wait for a second that we realized, wait, that's just 200 Spirit Life for free. So we got to reroute the game and save some time.
Yeah, it's very weird. Where exactly you can skip the cutscene to get the Spirit Light seems to be different for every person. So
yeah, there's also another cutscene skip here where this guy's going to welcome you to town, but by jumping basically as we touch the ground, for some reason this cutscene skips. One of the things that's very interesting about cutscene skips in this game is that every cutscene behaves differently. It feels like some cutscenes really do not want you to skip them. Like they lock you into no matter what you do, but some cutscenes are like, hey, whatever, you can skip them. It's okay.
Yeah, even with intentional skips for cutscenes, it's very random. Some you can quit the menu. Some have a literal button on the menu that says skip me. And then we have some that we have to actually do tech to skip.
Yeah. We just bought some shards from Twilum. First of all, we picked up a shard earlier called Splinter, which, as mentioned before, turns our bow into a shotgun. Also, these aerial sentries are super nice. But yeah, it turns our bow into a shotgun. We also picked up a shard called Overcharge. And Overcharge basically makes it so we take double damage, but all of our energy is half the cost. Which makes the run a lot more risky, because obviously spikes now kill us instantly. But it means we can do double the amount of sentry jumps, which ends up being worth it overall.
Yeah, another cutscene skip here. There's a very long cutscene actually. It's only about 30-second one, just gone.
Yeah, skipping that one is very trivial.
Can I read another donation very quickly?
Sure.
We've got $20 from Tarlantos, who says, to 2,000. And we are currently very close to 2,000. We're at 1,986. And once we hit $2,021, we'll meet that milestone of Metroid hard mode. Keep that in mind.
I'm
Awesome.
surprised you were able to trigger the cutscene while getting the energy there.
You can do it as long as you're on the left side of the energy. You can do it.
Oh, that makes sense. See, we're all learning new things today.
If you go too far, it's actually kind of weird. The game unloads the scene from the heart we're supposed to get, and then you just self-select the game. That's you have to quit the menu and try again.
God, you would not believe how many hours I've spent trying to figure out a way to skip that cutscene of like opening the wellspring, but I don't think there's a way to do it, unfortunately.
So yeah, so we're coming up to grapple, and we'll say bye bye to that because we're not going to pick it up. But yeah, thank you to everybody who has donated and has made this happen. I think Grappleless is really awesome, so being able to show that off is going to be really cool.
Nicely done on the aerial symmetry there, by the way. Yeah, so Grappleless, basically all these like blue items, like the blue moss, the blue like little bulbs hanging from the ceiling or whatever, all of those are grapple objects where basically we can leash onto those and get momentum flinging off them and that kind of thing. But technically that's never actually required. The thing is though that replacing every grapple with aerial sentries is very, very difficult. And we're still in the process of retiming if Grappleless is actually faster. At the moment it's looking like it's not, just because having grapple just makes every room so much easier that it ends up being faster to get grapple anyway. So all this to say, doing Grappleless in a marathon is kind of wild.
Oh, I know where I'm going. Yeah, so we're going to first like real major combat of the thing. You can see how good the bow is with its upgrades, and with the Chaz we've got equipped.
The enemies do just melt.
Yeah. Normal enemies absolutely melt. We still melt bosses pretty quickly too. Like, it's just insane how much DPS it does.
Yeah, that's also worth mentioning that combat arenas, all the enemy spawns are fixed locations, so we just pretty much go to the exact position every time.
So here I'm going to be skipping another cutscene. This one's a little more complicated. We're basically going to trigger the cutscene, and after the cutscene is triggered, we're going to dash into a save. Even though you can't normally do that. Oh, I actually messed up. Let's try it again. Okay.
Yeah, basically, you shoot the bow, and while the bow is on its, while the arrows rather are on their way to the thing, that's when you dash into it. So you'll hit the save trigger just after the cutscene gets triggered, so it'll save triggering the cutscene. If that makes sense. What's good with this is it resets the cycle to the right, so we can do this wave dash into the next room and hopefully get a consistent cycle. Nice jump to get over that old plank. It's a bit harder than it looks. And now, because we don't have grapple, this upcoming section is also a lot more difficult. This is probably the hardest section in Grappleless, honestly, because this is where it's meant to be teaching you how to use grapple. So there's a lot of sections, and this C-shaped room in particular is a real challenge.
Yeah, this one is basically one of the hardest parts of the entire run.
Oh, unfortunately, yeah.
So we're fine. Second try.
This is one of those fun rooms which is completely trivial with grapple.
Yeah.
And without grapple it becomes this like frame perfect gauntlet.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
The other thing with Grappleless is that because we have to use a lot more sentries, it means that we're eating into our energy a lot more, which makes it so we have to route in more energy saves and that kind of thing.
I'm gonna take a death here. So one thing we didn't mention, let me just do this strike class and I'll talk about it. There we go. Yeah, so every time you die, the game will give you at least 4 health and 2 energy back. So we have less than that. We can sometimes take intentional deaths to get extra health and energy. For things like damage tanking and just having energy available for sentry jumps and for wave dashes.
It's also our last bit of purchasing of the run. We just bought fast travel, which allows you to basically fast travel no matter where you are on the map.
Yep.
You don't have to be at like a teleporter to teleport. Inspired by teleport anywhere in Blind Forest, they just gave it an ability, I guess.
Yeah, no cutscene escape.
Yeah.
Now we're into an escape, which again is pretty difficult without grapple. Oh.
Yeah. This one is probably the most janky looking without grapple, because we're going to stand on some spikes later that's not going to look like we should be able to stand on. Yeah, we're also going to try and avoid going inside this wheel, basically. By like going on top of it or whatever. It only saves a little bit of time, but it looks very cool, and that's obviously more important. this last little part, there's like a lot of really tight aerial sentries to get through here.
Nice. That's Whew. Yeah, that last section is like, if you miss an aerial, you just die. The water will catch up to you and kill you. So you gotta get essentially 2 perfect aerial sentries.
The best thing about this category of Grappleless is that we get to hear the full banger.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally if you hear the drop in this song, something's gone wrong.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately a little bit slower for various sections, but...
Yeah, it's why, like I said, Grappleless loses time in some places, but, you know, obviously you don't have to actually get grapple, which saves a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, have you got any donations or anything you want to discuss? It's a good time. We're getting a bit of a cutscene here.
All right, I can at least get everyone updated on where we are right now. As far as our upcoming bid wars, we just have the Fate of the Animals save versus kill. A bid war as old as time. Save the Animals is at $568.27. Kill the Animals is at $354.82. In terms of those upcoming milestones, we've got Metroid hard mode. That's going to happen if we hit $2,021. So we are very close to that. And then after that, we have the Axiom Verge randomizer hard mode. That will happen if we hit $2,250. Remember, all this money, charity, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society.
For what it's worth, by the way, you should save the animals.
Hey. So yeah, what we're actually doing here... Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I'm talking about a different game. So you talk about yours. This game's more important right now.
Yeah, so we're actually doing the biggest sequence skip in the game right now. So yeah, we're meant to follow the main quest, but we're actually going to coming into Luma Pools here early when you're not actually supposed to be here right now. We're supposed to have an ability called Feather before you can get in here casually. And the whole reason we're doing this is to pick an ability that helps us swim faster or go through water sections faster. So yeah, we would have to do this anyway, but we're kind of just choosing it to do it now to get access to the swim dash ability earlier on.
Yeah, and you may think, well, I mean, isn't this breaking the main quest order? But fortunately it doesn't, because the quest only actually updates once you do the boss. Unfortunately for us, the teleporter is literally right next to the boss, so we can just walk up to the teleporter and then just leave and come back like 20 minutes later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're also going into my favorite trick of the entire run. Scott, you want to explain it?
Puzzle skip. So basically, by killing ourselves in a very specific set of spikes after moving far enough to the left, there's like a puzzle in the bottom, like in the water, and for some reason, or it just completes that automatically.
Yeah, we don't like doing puzzles are slow. We don't like doing that, so we're just gonna thing. Also has the other benefit of actually save warping us. So I quit the menu and come back in. I'm actually further over to the left than I was before.
The actual reason for this is like it's something to do with like Ori's hurt box interpolates over the top of the puzzle switch at the same time it dies, something like that. But I don't know, it's very weird, and we're gonna see something else about Luma Pools that's very weird. But there's a combat arena that we're meant to do here, but for some reason the door just likes to not load.
Yeah, so we're just gonna basically, if you go to the middle of the combat arena on the bridge, it'll trigger the combat arena, which is obviously not good. So we just swim underneath it and we're allowed to pass for free, so we skip another combat arena there.
Yeah, and what's worth mentioning is that the door only sometimes doesn't spawn. Sometimes it does spawn, you have to script the menu until it doesn't. Luma Pools is a very strange area for some small individual finicky things that like pretty much only affect speedrunners.
Yeah, it does. Okay, one of you come here, please.
Yeah, you ran out of energy, so yes, there's a seal there ran out of energy, so you have to bash off one of those guys instead.
Yeah, unfortunately you can't. Yeah, you can't actually reach them with just a single bash. You have to bash them up and then bash off them again to reach up to the platform.
You also did a ghost door, which you would have seen in Blind Forest. So basically, you open a keystone door and then just kill yourself to skip around like opening animation. Yeah. For now, we have Water Dash, which is the whole reason we came here.
And as you can see in a second, yeah, it is quite a bit faster than swimming without it.
Yeah.
So there's only actually one other section in the game where we're going to swim, which is coming up directly after this. And it still saves like 20 seconds or something.
Yeah, it's
just
like,
to get this ability.
Even though it's a very short water section, Water Dash is so much faster that it saves like... I think it is close to 20 seconds. It was one of those things timed out very early in the game when everyone was like, "Yep, this is faster." So I'm not really sure exactly how much faster it is. We're also going to actually fight this boss that we skipped earlier. We're fighting it now because we've basically upgraded our bow, so we can just absolutely annihilate it.
Yep. Yeah, so this is technically the major category is all challenges, so we have to fight every boss and do every escape sequence.
And Hornbow can sometimes give you some bad energy, depending on basically if he decides to walk across the arena or not. So hopefully he's friendly today.
Hey, okay, we got a decent cycle. That was not bad. Yeah, sometimes you can walk across arena. Other times, so you can do like slow or fast turnarounds. We got 2 fast ones, but the slow turnarounds let you get like 500 or 600 bow shots in, so we'd much rather get those. But yeah, it seems to be quite RNG based.
I think there's a way to RNG minute it, but it's kind of hard to tell, just because like, Ori's not the kind of game where you can move in like fixed distances quite as easily, I guess. Just because like terrain is always very slightly sloped, which can make your dash in fact in weird ways. Also, a very cool cutscene skip coming up here that is unique to real-time runs, where basically we're gonna when we enter this cutscene, or like when we reach like the trigger for it, the game locks your movement, but you can still dash and use swords to get into those little spikes, and then kill yourself to get out of the cutscene trigger, and then
Yeah, I quite like it because you do like a triple dash reset of the ceiling.
Yeah, it's very cool. There's some ceilings where if you like brush against them, you get your dash back.
Didn't get it. Yeah, this is a super finicky cutscene skip where if you go even slightly too far to the right, the cutscene sucks you in and doesn't let you go. So we're gonna watch the actual main antagonist getting Shriek walk away. Usually she just sits there in the background and is chilling. That's what happens if you do get it.
Missing that one is fun though, because Ori just gets to stand there in the middle of the air.
Yeah, it looks kind of funny. Okay, I am struggling on energy a little bit. We'll have to figure out.
I think that death soon might be the best way? Question mark?
Probably. Can probably. Okay. So we're gonna take a death here just to give ourselves some energy. We just said safe trigger.
For a second, I thought that you were just gonna take a death after getting the keystone, and I was like, no, Seaal, no, it's awesome. You're fine.
Yeah, so there's another major skip here coming up. Oh, yeah, kind of major.
This is one of the most unique tricks of main quest order. I think it's very cool. So basically, the whole point of this game is that the story is that we're trying to save our bird friend Ku, but unfortunately, saving our bird friend Ku, it takes a lot of time, and we can skip it doing this thing called Q skip.
There we go.
But Q skip would be breaking quest order. So what we came up with was this thing where basically we could save Q while not triggering the cutscene. So how do we do that? Basically, picking up this keystone while you're not on Q activates some kind of debug mode, I assume, where basically if you then trigger the cutscene above the home ring.
It's Q.
So again, sorry?
Oh, sorry, I was just pointing out Q on the screen. She just like floats in the air randomly.
Yeah. Now the next time we die, we'll end up on Q. So what we want to do is we want to go back to the Q cutscene and get the save trigger there, and then kill ourselves. Which that will do is we'll spawn back up on Q where the cutscene is, and we even walk into the cutscene fine. And then, so this is a long explanation. There's then a save trigger, which only activates once you're on Q, and because you're in the cutscene on Q, it moves Ori's position over. Basically, this is a very long. I think I explained that so fairly. It's a very long way of saying basically we did all of that stuff so we can now quit to menu and skip the cutscene.
Yeah. And the benefit of this is basically, and the length, that cutscene is just 3 minute long. So if you do everything first time, and the length it takes you to watch the cutscene, we can actually go and get an extra keystone, which will save us a bunch of time later on in the run. Yeah,
actually skipping that cutscene doesn't, it only saves about 15 seconds or something, but because we're also picking up an extra keystone, that saves another 12 seconds over getting it in Boris Reach, and then because we get the keystone first, we can now go to multiple depths first, which saves another 5 seconds. So it's the kind of thing where it all adds up. This is also where we're going to be using our keystone from door skip, by the way. We're going to be using, sorry, no, never mind, ignore me, I'm being stupid. We would normally use our keystone here, but we don't need to.
Yeah, but we still have the extra one. The door skip keystone basically helps us be more efficient on several doors.
Yeah. So my brain fully turned off. I should probably should mention we're riding Q now, by the way.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's the thing.
Q's movement is a lot more limited than Ori, so this is the kind of part where you kind of like shake yourself off, relax a little bit. There's not really too many ways you can mess up. I mean, I say that and like that's like almost definitely gonna curse the run. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say you're tempting fate there because it's very easy to mess up, even on Q. But yeah, when we're on Q, most of our abilities are locked, especially our movement abilities. So we're just kind of gonna like jump around, and Q is very floaty. So yeah, so there is still some optimizations that you can do, but like there's not too much. So it's generally like compared to most of the run, where we're just being crazy the whole time, but trying to be as efficient as possible. And this one is generally a little bit more relaxed with the limit of what you can do to optimize.
Yeah. It's also one of the only categories that actually does this Q section. Most of them just do that Q skip and they forget the whole shenanigans of going back and triggering the cutscene. Instead, they just skip the Q section and do the whole thing as Ori. But leaving Q behind is for the heartless, so we have to pick him up.
Yeah.
Hurry up, Rory.
We don't want to leave our friend behind. So yeah, so you can actually skip that cutscene. I actually got it for the first time ever in practice yesterday.
Oh, really? Nice.
It's you have to be essentially almost perfect with your movement. It's very hard to do. So I got it once. I mean, I'm just saying I got it once. You guys don't have to believe me, but
it was first discovered by accident, and me and another runner, Reese, spent like half an hour each trying to figure it out and couldn't get a single extra time after that. So it's like, it's really difficult. It is. You can be consistent with it now. Like we have more setups for it, but it's like it's very difficult to be consistent with still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Reese is actually hanging in the Twitch chat. So, what's up, Reese?
Oh, hi, Reese.
You've been shouted out.
Reese is a big homie.
Yeah, Reese is awesome. We have a lot of awesome people in this Ori speedrun community. If you guys ever feel like are interested in running either Blind Forest or Will of the Wisps, like just come and join the speedrunning Discord, and there's like a ton of guides and helpful people. We're always willing to help out with whatever category you wish to run. So. Yeah, come check us out if it seems interesting to you.
Yeah, there's loads of guides, loads of resources. People are cool. Gets my thumbs up.
Definitely. Yeah, so don't worry about Ku. She's just taking a nap.
Yeah. She is all good. And then well, you shot a bow at her? That's messed up.
Not intentional. I forgot to switch.
Yeah.
She's still taking a nap. It's fine.
There was this area we opened up earlier, and it's actually the entrance to one of the major areas of the game, because now what we have to do is what the title of the game suggests, which is collect all the wisps. There are 4 wisps to collect. There's actually one earlier we already got, but there's 4 other wisps to collect. One of them we have to do last, but the other 3 can be done in any order. So it's actually pretty much runner preference, but the actual fastest one is multiple deaths, which is the fastest by 5 seconds, but also the most difficult. So, going here first can be really scary.
Yeah. All the spikes here are one shot, so
yeah, we
have to be very careful. There's also another mechanic in this, this darkness, as you can see. So if the darkness fully encroaches us, Ori will just die. Luckily for us, there's supposed to be an ability that the game is supposed to give you. You're supposed to traverse through this area, following these very slow fireflies around. That takes a ton of time. Luckily for us, if we just shoot the bow, it literally just refreshes our light timer, and essentially allows us to go through all these sections while completely allowing us to completely skip using that ability, which is very handy because it's an ability that we already use a lot anyway. So
yeah, and you'll notice it more as the run goes on. But this game has very much of a rich gets richer kind of thing, where the 2 best abilities are bow and sentry, and they are able to be used for more than just their movement and combat capabilities.
Yes.
Yeah. Wolf was meant to be this hour-long like maze of a level, but we just cleared it in about a minute. That was very clean. Good job.
Thanks. Yeah. So now we're coming up to tomorrow, which is the hardest boss in the game, especially because we're. So one thing about like the order you choose to do the 3 wisps in is every wisp gives you a health and energy cell. So we're actually fighting Mara at 5 health and 6 energy right now, which means that we die in about 3 hits, especially in the first phase. So we gotta be very, very careful about managing health and dodging attacks properly. Yeah.
It's also energy can be very tight because we're shooting the bow for our main damage, and the bow also takes energy, so gotta be careful. Pretty much our strat is going to be dumping bow shots into her and getting some sword swings there, which gives us specific attacks, so we can save energy for those. The bow is our highest amount of damage we can get normally. At the end of her, she'll have like there's 2 parts to her first phase. After the first part, she'll like break through this wall, and she'll get some new attacks, but by staying on her right hand side, you don't have to really deal with them too much.
Oh, whoops, a daisy. I got very eager chasing her there.
Oh, I've done that before. Yeah, that's really annoying.
It's sometimes she just like doesn't like us and runs away from us to the other side of the arena. Quite annoying.
Yeah, that's the attack we want to avoid at all costs, basically.
Did it again. She's like somewhat RNG manipulable depending on your position, but she may just still troll you if she feels like it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna probably die here, but we're gonna try and get the energy. Yeah, dying here is fine because I need energy to set a jump. Because again, no grapple. This escape is a lot more challenging because it involves grappling in several places. Don't have.
Yeah, I won't lie. I'm still really. I never knew that the rocks fell down there at the side and killed you. I have hundreds of hours in this game.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, this this escape is honestly maybe the most difficult one without grapple, just because you want to save on energy to be able to get a heal in or whatever to be able to do the next section. But doing it all quickly enough is very difficult.
Yeah,
again,
there's like
all the spikes are one shots.
We need to get specifically on this wood bit that comes up. And it's quite difficult to do when it's moving all the time, and if I take too long, Mara's gonna catch up to me and kill me, like, just keeps happening. So, yeah, let's get it this time.
Yeah, easy, every time.
Because usually when people talk about Mara being difficult, it's about fighting her and not about the escape, but yeah, this is one of the things that grapple us. It just takes, like, things that are supposed to be hard. There we go, I got it this time.
Nice.
And yeah, and makes them way more challenging than they should be.
Grapples is messed up because you're finding Mora like, oh my god, the escape is gonna be so stressful. Like, what? That's not the stressful part of Mora.
Oh, great. Alright, time to reset. These little spiders are the worst part about fighting Mara.
Yeah.
So if you get unlucky and she spawns them at the start of the section, I'm just gonna reset. Because they actually do more damage than she does, weirdly enough.
Yeah, they're really, really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, they even like climb walls and stuff, so avoiding them is just very challenging. Especially when
Yeah.
we're using the bow, and we want to you have to stand still to use the bow, so...
Yeah. This section of the fight, you're meant to have like the flash to keep the light on or whatever, but because the bow gives this light, this is actually pretty much the exact same as the other phase, to be honest.
Oh, I got filters on. I was like, where's the teleport? What's happening?
Oh, yeah.
The bat filter was on. Okay, panic up, we're good. Okay, so that was more. Yeah, unfortunately I had struggled a lot in the little escape sequence, but yeah, it happens. Like, that's the general theme of this run in general, or like, everything is like, usually, you know, with enough practice things are not too bad, but it's so easy, and the game is so punishing when you do make mistakes that, yeah, sometimes you just get unlucky and like you can lose a ton of time.
Yeah. We're heading over towards Bar's Reach now, which has one of the coolest like gates, I guess, of any Metroidvania, which is just this big bear. Well, I guess this is Metroidvaniathon. Should I be making sweeping statements about Metroidvanias like that? What if someone in chat's gonna be like, "Oh my god, you haven't played," and then some sick Metroidvania I've never heard of, I need to play right now.
That's it.
Anyway, the point is he's a big bear. It's very
He's
good.
a big bear, and that's all we'll see of him, so...
Yep.
Goodbye, Bala. It was nice to meet you, I guess.
Bar's Reach is a pretty interesting level because actually getting through it in terms of the speedrun, it's probably one of the easier levels to just get through, but doing it quickly can be quite difficult. It's one of the more technical levels. There's a lot of pretty precise movement and specific spacings to get through at a max speed. I don't know what happened there, by the way, while I was talking.
I got economies, I think. So if you land like on certain edges, the game will just accelerate you. And like, oh my goodness, menuing. Yeah, the game will just accelerate you outwards, like away from the platform, which is actually really useful in a lot of places. You can use it to do. They're usually pretty hard to go for, but you can use them to do like slight optimizations, and they're fun to go for. Sometimes they're just you just do them randomly on platforms you don't expect and fly into spikes.
Yeah.
So luckily we were able to recover, but.
This is what I mentioned about the rich get richer thing, by the way. Sentry, so you're meant to get a grenade here, but we actually don't get that in this. We instead, it turns out that dropping the sentry, the end of the sentry has the same fire effect as throwing a grenade, so we can use that to get through the 2 gates here, basically, like the ice wall and the switch. And that's all we ever need for the grenade, so we never need to get it. It saves a lot of time. That's probably actually one of the most significant individual saves in the whole run, and it was by this guy who just landed into the Discord one day and was like, "Hey, do you guys know about this?" And we were like, "No, thanks for the minute of time save."
Yeah, it's pretty insane how much time that saves. Getting grenade is a pain, and there's a ton of like cutscenes and stuff as well there.
Yeah. I say a minute, it's probably honestly more than that. Like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. This combat arena is quite cool because there's like specific strats, like setups where we can basically bash enemies into like spikes and stuff like that. And for these like armored guys and the guys with the shield, we have to basically wait for them to stop screaming before we can bash through them. And then once we do that,
if you do it just right, you can just about kill them right before they turn around and start blocking your shots. So a little optimization there. Saves like maybe a second or 2.
Nice.
Okay, we're good, sorry. I almost hit one of the rotating
that was a good seal noise, I liked it.
So again, another section where, hey, we're supposed to grapple here, so we'll just sentry a jump up.
Yeah. This one's fortunately not too much more difficult, it's just slow.
Yeah.
But we're coming up on a pretty major cutscene skip, where there's basically about a minute of cutscene at the end of this section, where it goes, hey, you got a wisp, but we can skip that by sentry jumping over. The problem, if we go too high, the game actually zones out, sends you out.
I mess up.
And you spawn back at where you just were. So you don't want to go too high, but if you go too low, then what just happens, where you instead enter the cutscene. So you have to basically thread the needle between going too high and too low, and then land into the cutscene. It'll look pretty janky when it happens.
Okay. Well, yeah. The other thing as well is if I die in this escape now because we didn't watch the cutscene, we didn't get a save, so I'll have to do the entire trek again.
Yeah. Also, every spike in this escape is a one shot. So.
Yeah. And just makes things a little more complicated. We don't have grapple, so some of these grapple things we can't deal with. Luckily, they're not too bad in this escape. We're generally just gonna replace them with an easy enough.
Oh my god. There was like a point where I was so sure you died.
Hey, okay, nice. We got through it. I have died in that escape more times than I care to remember. On good pace. It's very easy to do.
I should also say, like, I don't want to. I know I'm like playing up how difficult everything is, and it's because it is. Like, don't get me wrong. But if you're interested in running the game, there's like a lot more beginner-friendly routes for this, which aren't that much slower. Like, there's one that gives you full invincibility for bosses, which obviously makes them a lot easier. There's ones that get the things in different orders, all that sort of thing. And there's people with like competitive times and a lot of different routes for the run. So if like Seaal does like the hardest route. So if this, seems off-putting, then don't worry about it too much. Also, we just did a really cool cutscene overlap, so now Ori gets to move around, do a little dance during this cutscene.
Yeah. Also, just shout out to Scaffold, who is commentating with me. They made a really amazing beginner guide for this category. So it literally has a video series that takes you through the entire run with very beginner-friendly threats.
Thank you. Yeah. I also have a text guide for which goes into more detail on any of the tricks, which might be intermediate or more advanced, and so on. If you want to get, like, step up from beginner to another route or anything like that. For now, though, we're doing the Pollock skip sequence. It's kind of janky because we overlap the cutscenes in a way, so we have to avoid some invisible collision and stuff. And we also want to go as fast as possible because Pollock actually rubber bands to you. Now, we haven't really talked too much about patch difference. Seal's playing on 1.2, which is very slightly faster, and but people play on current patch as well. And current patch for some reason doesn't overband to you, so you get to cheat on this basically and have him play Mario Kart with us. So Polak doesn't have a checkpoint in the middle of it, so even though he's an easier fight than Mora, if you die, it can be a real disaster. We also want to shoot these energy crystals. For some reason, if you shoot them with the bow, then double the amount comes out than shield. This section can be difficult to keep up damage just because, you know, we can't output damage constantly, so you have to keep going in and out of the water.
Alright, we had to get the swipe kill. It turns out the swim dash actually does damage to enemies. So
yeah.
Finish them up with swim dash.
In RTA, it's actually possible to like shoot the bow and then dash into him to die at the same time, which skips the death animation or the picture menu, but it's really, really difficult. And the swim dash kill is also cooler and funnier, so...
I've actually done that before completely accidentally.
Yeah, I've never done it on purpose.
I got really upset because I thought I had screwed the fight up and would have to repeat the entire thing, and then it was like, oh my goodness, it's okay.
Yeah, you actually saved time, isn't that crazy?
So yeah, big spoiler alert for the story. We don't do a lot of story stuff in the game, but this one is kind of an unavoidable cutscene, so this is our friendly neighborhood frog. And unfortunately, we beat him to death.
Yeah, we do spend more of this run watching him die than like talking to him, unfortunately.
A lot more.
Yeah, a lot more. But yeah, this is unfortunately the start of a few cutscenes that we can't really skip. Not that they're all back to back, but generally the end of most Wisps are cutscenes that we can't skip from now on. But it's okay, we have the newest trick in the run is going to be coming up at the end of the next section, and it's the funniest skip in the whole game. So look forward to that.
Yeah, if you guys have any donations or anything you want to just talk about, well, this is a good time.
All right. Nothing right now, but I want to mention where we are right now. We're at $1,986.83. In order to hit the milestone for Metroid Hard Mode, we need to cross $2,021. We're 98% of the way there. And then for Axiom Verge Randomizer, we'd need to reach $2,250. That's hard mode, sorry. The randomizer hard mode. $2,250.
Man, I feel my brain's on slow mode or something, because you said 2021, I was like, I'm pretty sure there's something significant about that number.
Maybe. Just maybe.
Took me a second. Anyway, you can see like dash slashes here, they're most useful. We can interrupt the dashes cooldown with slash or jump to chain more dashes together. And we're coming up to the most major skip in the whole run. For this run, it's not as major as in other categories. Basically, touching the ground there will trigger this long extended stealth section, which is very, very slow. And at the end of the stealth section, it creates a kill point here. But by playing the floor as lava, basically, we could just not trigger the thing ever and go over the whole thing and come back whenever we want.
Okay.
Also, as everything, doing this grapple, this is more difficult.
Yeah, there's two different places here where we can grapple, and we don't get to do them. Okay, that's fine though. Wait a minute. It's kind of nice that you get one good area since you actually bug the ceiling and you get a dash reset, which allows you to get past. Because you need to actually get like quite far into that platform.
Yeah. If you're too far to the left, it still counts as being in their area.
Yeah, which is quite sad to do the whole thing and then accidentally still trigger the cutscene right at the end.
Yeah, a small thing. I noticed that you basically were way to the left of the wall at the end, and the reason for that is that Seaal found out there's a tiny little ledge that counts as the ground on that wall. He found out yesterday. So you can accidentally trigger it while sliding down that wall and just have to reset the whole trick.
So another pretty difficult section now where the game expects you to grapple and we don't need to. We're coming up to kind of the end of where grapple is a major, or not having grapple is a major difference. There's one more thing in the last escape. We're mainly out of the areas where not having grapple or make it more difficult though.
It's worth mentioning, by the way, after we get Burrow, in no other bounds category, there's actually nothing stopping us from going beat in the game right now, which is the main reason that different categories exist, because any percent you just pretty much make a beeline here as soon as possible and beat the game in 25-26 minutes. Whereas, you know, other categories will likely be linked to the final area to get the OP abilities. But this, we basically wanted to, main quest where we wanted to keep it more like a traditional playthrough, which is why we only come here at the very end.
Yep. So yeah, this is Windswept Waste. This pretty difficult area, honestly. There's a lot of like finicky things you have to know and to deal with. Once you get experience, it's not so bad. The most difficult part is coming from the level second, where we got a bunch of lasers in the sand, and we got to get good timing and a good cycle to get through that cleanly.
Yeah, you're gonna do a quick to menu, right?
Yeah, do a quick menu here to reset the cycle, and then it's up to me to execute. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah, best of luck.
Okay, I'm gonna just take it slow. Okay, nice. Wasn't the most efficient one, but we still got through without dying. Dying there is so easy.
Yeah.
Oh, I messed up.
I think they're still fine though, because you have to do a damage tank in these lasers anyway. We don't have to, but it's just way faster.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Windshep's one of those areas where, like one mistake can kind of, you know, spiral out of control into a lot of mistakes in a row, and just because of the way Burrow works, because Burrow can respond weirdly to damage and that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's also worth mentioning that the game is, especially this category, is very viable on both controller and keyboard and mouse. I choose to play on keyboard and mouse because that's what I'm comfortable with, which makes Burrow a little bit more difficult because I only have 8 directions I can burrow in. Whereas if you're playing on controller, you actually, it's an analog stick, so you have a little bit better control.
Yeah, the trade-off being that in this game on keyboards, you can like choose your angles for your bashes perfectly by, you know, keeping the mouse in a specific position. Same for another ability that'll be coming up in about 10 minutes. So depending on what you prefer, basically, people play keyboard and controller. And there's top players for every category on both keyboard and controller, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it is cool. So yeah, we're going to, this is Winton Ruins, I think the name of it is. I don't remember. It's like a lot up area. We just have a base of basically unskippable cutscenes where we will mesh through all the dialogue. There's one at the end that I might be able to skip depending on RNG. I might also softlock, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's possible to wave dash into all of these, and it is possible to skip all of these doing that, but it's first of all, it's extremely unlikely, but also if you wave dash past them, you softlock the game. So
yeah, so sometimes wave dashing, well, this one and the last one, sometimes you can wave dash and it gives you control back, and other times it doesn't. So you'll drop down here and Ori will just run to the right trying to get to the, I guess, the Y coordinate of the cutscene, or the S coordinate, and then just because there's a sand wall on the way, just never does it.
Yeah, so yeah. But we can't really figure out what it is that gives us control or not, so, you know, game is always evolving.
So yeah, this is the last Wisp we're getting here. This is, we'll collected all 5 Wisps. We're coming up to like the sort of last section of the game, but first, we have to watch another kind of lengthy, unskippable cutscene where we watch these Wisps combine like the Power Rangers into the Ulma Wisp called Sign, which is just in the first Blind Forest. I don't know how they got split. None of that is really explained, but
it's in this game it's Sarah, right? And in Blind Forest it's
Sign.
right,
yeah, sorry, yeah.
It's just
I didn't realize
close.
that was different.
It's kind of interesting actually, because the original game is the place is called Nibel, and this game is called Nywin, which sounds kind of similar. But the art book actually says that the place is called Vale, which means that it must have been changed late in development. I wonder why it is they changed it. How interesting. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but
also you'll see this thing in the background that will become very apparent soon.
Yeah.
It's just chilling, just hanging out.
Also, if this cutscene's boring you, don't worry. You're about to have like the most intense cutscene skip of all time coming up at the end of this escape, so watch for that. Yeah, so this is our
giant friendly neighborhood sandworm. I don't really know why he's here, he's just chilling. I feel bad that he never gets to kill any speedrunners, so I'm going to jump into his mouth at the start. Which is the actual reason why, is because it gives me a full health and energy refill, but it's also kind of funny to do it.
Yeah, because Seal's doing grapple, this escape section has a lot more sentries in it, and because you don't get any energy back from starting the escape, unlike other escapes, you basically have the energy that you're working with from the Windswept Waste area.
I had like 2 or 3 energy, which is only 2 or 3 sentry jumps.
Yeah.
Which is not very many. Not enough anyway.
This little part here is basically like you have to just wait for him anyway, so it doesn't really matter how fast we go.
Okay, that was almost sketchy, but we're fine. Luckily, Sandworm is like actually super lenient. Whenever it gets close to you, it just like decelerates to almost like standstill.
I can't believe you go for aerial sentries in this. I'd be way too scared to you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like you could actually just climb up the wall, and it would actually he would never actually catch you. But it's
That's probably true.
It doesn't look quite as impressive. So I like to go aerials are really fun. So I'm always trying to go for as many aerials as I can.
Yeah.
Alright, yes. So we're going for a very important skip here. I'm gonna concentrate. Very specifically.
Sorry, I can't keep a straight face during this skip. The truth is, you have to wait for the camera to zoom out. And then about 10 seconds after it zooms out, oh, you get the black shadow covering everything. Cool.
That's it. There you go. I did it first time.
Yay.
No, actually, it's weird. Scaffold Fun is really recent, actually, the last couple of months. There is a cutscene at the end of this. Apparently, I need to say, get some help back. Yeah, so if you just wait 42.5 seconds there and don't go and walk to the end and trigger the cutscene, we can actually just skip the cutscene, which saves around like 12 seconds.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
We call it patience skip. The reason being that we first have to be patient, but also when I was trying to work out a way to skip it, I did like the classic that people like joke about, where I left my keyboard and I came back and I was like, wait, why does it work now? I tried 100 times to recreate it and I eventually realized, wait, you have to just literally do nothing.
Yeah, there's a slight ramification here that we actually, watching the cutscene will technically give us the wisp, so we technically have one, well, we don't technically, we have 1 less health and energy. But as long as we do with good play, it's not actually that big of a deal. We can work around that fact.
And I mean, you could argue that skipping one of the wisps shouldn't count for main quest order. But first of all, the guy's following us around anyway, and second of all, patient skip is really funny, so I think it should be allowed anyway.
Yeah, it's a little, the way all the internals works is weird. The quest trigger is technically updated before. Oops, wow, I didn't stop. Still wave dashing directly into this laser. Fun.
That's the special. We're coming up on the final ability of the game, which is also the most powerful one, and like I said, the reason this category was invented, basically, because most categories just, like 100% and all challenges, not main quest order, just make a beeline for this ability, which is launch. And pretty much what launch does is it means we can just bash off ourselves effectively.
Yeah, so the last area of the game where we're coming into is called Willow's End, and the game is designed around launch, and the rest of the game really isn't designed around launch. So it really, trivialize is not the right word, because there's still a lot of optimization. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's try it again. 1 second. Yeah, but the areas become like significantly easier, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very different kind of movement.
Yeah.
Sorry, that like launch off the floor into the ceiling looked really weird.
Yeah, that was so. Yeah, sometimes if you can launch into the floor at weird angles, or it will just like fly along the floor, kind of like a wave dash in a way. Sometimes it goes wrong, as you saw.
Yeah, so the idea of Willow's End, which is like the coolest level, is basically there's 8 hearts, which are pretty much their own self-contained little challenges. So you can think of them as, you know, they're individual things you can practice. And you have to kill all of them, and it will open the door to the final part, which you'll see whenever we kill this heart.
Yeah, so actually we skipped there's like an Indiana Jones run away from the boulder scene thing there, but actually if you're just fast, you can actually just dash right underneath the boulder and never have to have it chase you, which is a nice time save.
One thing we did recently in the community, which I thought was quite cool and worth saying, is we did like an IL, it wasn't a competition, it was just pretty much everyone did focus on ILs of Willow's End for a week. And then at the end, you know, people posted their VODs and their times, and we looked at each other's swims and, you know, said things that we noticed or talked about strats for individual sections, and that was pretty useful, I think.
It was super useful for me. I improved my my time by like almost a minute compared to personal best Willow's end time. So I learned a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Willow's End is a level with, like, in main quest order at least, I don't know as much about other categories, but this level has a lot of depth to it, because there's, like, small optimizations you can make all over the place, basically, because you have so many movement abilities at this point. We're coming up on one of the cooler parts, where pretty much, we had to get a little projectile into a wall. I meant to do this puzzle by redirecting it through a bunch of portals, but actually if we're fast enough, we could just launch after the same one that we used from elsewhere, and just bring it over to the portal. Nicely done.
Thanks. Yeah, you can kind of just bend it around like 3 different corners. It's pretty satisfying when you can pull it off first time.
Yeah. Heart 4 is always a favorite of mine. Basically, we're going to play the floor as lava after we burrow through this section here. Doesn't like the floor is actually literally lava, I guess.
Okay, we're fine. Again, a little bit awkward here because this is the last time we'll actually need grapple, or would have needed grapple in the entire game, I think.
That sounds right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
No, there's one at Heart 5. Heart 5, you have to use grapple as well.
Oh, true.
Fortunately, the grapples here are just things to basically smooth up the movement, rather than required things. And because we have launch, we don't need to do aerial sentries, but it just makes things a little bit slower.
Yeah, a little bit slower, a little bit more awkward in some spots. Half 5 is like my least favorite hat, so let's see.
Yeah, this one can be really awkward. If the cycle's not generous, or if things go wrong, then it can go wrong very quickly. Because there's a lot that's around to basically instant kill you.
Okay, I'll just take it chill, make sure we're not rushing.
Yeah.
Okay, that was really awkward in the cycle. Okay, we're fine. Yeah, sometimes it's better to go slower to make sure you don't die, especially maybe in like a marathon. You can be pretty efficient on the hard, but like it generally involves a lot of risk, and even like slightly incorrect movement will just get you killed.
Yeah, the way cycles work in this game is based on whenever like the area loads. So you want to basically wave dash to move into the area, so it loads in a certain way, and then do everything perfectly, and that gives you fast cycle. Also, dying there literally doesn't matter because you spawn so quickly, like right above it.
Yeah. So this is the second to last boss in the game, if you can call it a boss for this category.
Yeah, this boss is
very difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
You have to do this bit every single marathon of talking of how difficult this boss is.
So yeah. Luckily for us, the bow is that souped up that we literally just stand still and hold down our bow button until it dies.
Believe it or not, this isn't like anywhere near full strength Ori. If you watch the 100% runs, the boss dies like unbelievably quick.
Yeah, it's kind of insane, honestly.
I come up to Heart 7 and Heart 8, which are kind of linked together. Heart 7 is on the way to Heart 8. But it's got its own little thing with these lasers, as you can see. Like, getting to it is its own challenge. And let's just have a little bit of lasers here, and then we get it. It's also, it's kind of a weird heart, because it's in this little alcove on its own. But going to the last part, this one is, again, cycle-based. And we're going to do some damage tanks at the very start to get up and over this little wheel rather than riding it around the inside. Also, whenever you glide, you get your dash and your launch back, so we can use that to refresh our launch, basically, and get up here in one cycle.
Oh, that was a clean high, actually.
Yeah, that looks really good, yeah. Good job.
Got some really nice cycles. Sometimes the cycles just doesn't seem to line up, and then sometimes everything just like kind of lines up perfectly, and you're like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah, right? That looked really good. And now the door is open, so there's nothing between us and the final boss of the game. And the final boss has a little bit of RNG, probably the most RNG of any place in the run, actually. Where in her like main phase, I guess, she can give you attacks called swoops, which you basically can't hit her. So what we're gonna pray for is that Seaal doesn't get too many of those. Each one is about 7 or 8 seconds, I don't remember. Oh, and this first phase is like completely deterministic, like we know exactly what's gonna happen every time, so we can do it in a short amount of cycles pretty consistently.
Didn't quite get the fastest cycle, but I was close.
Yeah, it was like one bow shot off. And this is a traditional Ori way, and this is an escape sequence. And because we have launch for this one, we're waiting if we could just solidly to right, whereas a lot of Blind Forest ones were vertical.
Yeah, this is less safe in the game technically, but it's really probably the most safe one out of all of them. It's very hard to die in it.
Yeah, especially compared to the other grappleless ones, because this one doesn't have a grapple at all. Now we're moving into this, and what we're going to do is immediately shoot up at her, and then we're going to hope she doesn't get the swoops. So pray for Seaal in chat.
Okay, we only had one swoop so far, so I can get, if we get another good attack, we could
Yeah,
get a 2-cycle. Nope,
that's a pretty
2.
great first attack to get.
Oh, it's not trying to... Oh, okay, that's... Oh my goodness, whoops. I messed up.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, we just damage tank that every time, so like I don't even think to like do it, I guess.
I was being like way too cute with the swoop for no reason whatsoever. I was like,
yeah,
let's give everyone a heart attack, and then I got hit by it. Yeah, getting hit by these swoops is like, once you know what you're doing, yeah, you shouldn't really ever be getting hit by them. This is the worst attack that we never want to see, because it's like 10 seconds and you can't attack streak during it.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's what we'd actually do here. Just damage tank and spam bow on her. Okay.
And so ideally we get her in one more cycle. And this attack is a great one for it. Very safe and very consistent damage.
I'm actually... Oh, energy? Okay, which should be good as long as you don't get another background side, which you did. Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the risk of patient skip, basically, where you have less energy for this fight now.
It's usually not a problem. This is like an actual butchering of phase 3 for me. It's usually not this bad, I promise.
No, I know, it's okay.
Okay.
You can take an intentional death just to refill our energy.
Yeah, so after every phase you get saved. Sorry, I didn't mean to overcut. You get saved, so we can just... Killing yourself is a way to guarantee the energy crystal will respawn. We need some energy for the last phase, which hopefully I'll get in one cycle. We'll see.
Yeah, you also see there's just this safe stone on the right hand side we can stand, and then the coolest thing of all time happens, which is kind of the thing that only makes sense for Ori, where the floor disappears. And now we can just bash off everything and launch around the place and float and all the rest of it.
Nice.
Well done. This is not time, by the way, not time.
So yeah, we got the hardest part to run up to come, and we got to hold the right button.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, at the end of the game, there is a mandatory 3-minute, 5-second cutscene section where we have to watch kind of the ending, because there is still input to go, but we have essentially finished the run now.
Yeah, good job. That was good.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll quickly do some shout outs. So I shout out, well, shout out Scaffold first, thank you so much for commenting for me.
Yeah, no worries, it was fun to do.
Shout out to the Ori community. Again, I already shouted them out. I'll shout them out again. They're really awesome, and it's been a pleasure to be part of the community for almost a year now, and learn the speedruns and make loads of friends. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I just want to shout these guys out. Shout out to Seven, who's like staring at me and is very upset that I didn't shout her out. Shout out to my dog who's behind me. Just come
say, please shout out your dog.
I'm here for the dog shout-outs.
Yeah.
The dog's very important.
As a fellow dog shout-outer.
I can get her actually. One sec.
My dog's like right next to me. He's dying to eat something.
Very tired, eh? Okay, I can't see my camera, but we'll hold her up. So. Yeah.
She's very good.
She's a little terror.
You love to see it.
Yeah, wait to the camera. She's got her new little booties on.
I also just casually, while we're all like looking at dogs, like the saddest scene of all time is happening.
Oh yeah.
On screen.
I'd like
We
to
gotta counter it.
I'd like to distract from the story because you haven't played this game. Oh, sorry. I really, yeah. If you're, assumingly most people watching Metroidvaniathon are a fan of Metroidvania, this game is like an absolute must-play in my opinion.
Yeah.
In terms of modern Metroidvanias, it's one of the best, if not the best. I think it's the best one. I put it in line and slightly above Hollow Knight. It's that good, so.
Yeah, this is personally my favorite. I play a ton of Metroidvanias personally, and this is my favorite, but Yeah, I recommend both games very, very highly. Even just as casual games, they're both absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so we got this final crawl sequence, people call it. Just holding the right button as we go through all these memories of things we didn't see, people we don't really know. Qualok is going to appear in a second, the guy we brutally murdered, you know.
Yeah, it kind of looks messed up, right? Like, from the speedrun perspective, he just helps us out and we go, okay, bye.
Yeah. Ari, the story of a psychopathic serial killer who just likes to go around destroying everything. No, I'm making fun of it, but like, honestly, Ari has a really incredible story. So like, it's very heartfelt and actually very sad in places. So yeah, it's good. And then we're coming up to time in just a second. And time.
Good job. That was really good.
Oh, thank you.
GG's.
Yeah, and thank you for NoReset for having me on. This was a really fun event to do. Really enjoyed it.
So any last words? I know you said a lot of last words already, but that's my script, so I'm just going to say it anyway.
Don't worry, we get so much time to just shout everything out before the one's even over.
You can't mess up my script. I'm just going to plow right through it and say it no matter what.
Yeah.
No, over to you. I think we're good.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you. Yeah, like they said, this was an awesome run. We got to see both of the Ori games. Excellent. Nice little block. And that's it. Thank you so much.